Judith Bilag at that time was a fresh graduate of secretariat. I came to know her, then I got her as my secretary. So, together with the two secretaries of Atty. Fernando, Celia Tampulay, was able to grow the office.
Nakuha natin ang mga dahilan kung ba't siya ganito ngayon. Yung mga fortunate at unfortunate na nangyari sa kanya mula childhood experiences niya. So now, we will talk about politics, life in the politics, kung paano siya nakapasok sa politika.
The first election after EDSA Revolution 1, February of 1986, that was the first election. I was asked by the group of Congressman Honorato Aquino at the time, who was our congressman, to join them, but I said no. How can I go to politics when I have no means? We were then in practice at that time, and I've been telling those who joined me that it's difficult, but kept on telling them, let us plant before we expect to harvest. If you are a lawyer who expected to harvest despite the fact that you did not plant, then there's something wrong with you. Do our best to show to our clients that we can render legal services to them, at least at par with the services that other lawyers, good lawyers in the community can do. Let us always be honest and fair with our client, with our Almighty as the number one King of ours that guide us. As I said, in 1988, I was then called to join the lineup, Congressman Honorato Aquino. But as I said, I know I have no means. So what I accepted at that time was to chair the committee, because they made a good starting point. Congressman Aquino said, I want that our lineup should come from the different tribes living in the city of Baguio. There must be Highlander, the Ilocanos, the Tagalog. Good idea. What I accepted at the time was to chair the selection committee to select who will be our candidate, Highlanders. The problem was to reach the deadline of filing certificate of candidacy. The late Galo Wigan changed his mind. He did not like anymore to run as councilor. Our leaders, the different tribes of the Cordilleras, went to him, telling him, you have no chance to win as mayor, because the leaders of the Igorots have their word of honor also. At this point in time, they are committed to some of the candidates. But the analysis of the late Wigan at the time was, he was the only Igorot running for mayor. And then I think there were 8 candidates for mayor at the time. So
wow, ang dami.
He was thinking that the Igorots will vote for him, then he will win. That was how he analyzed it. Because of that, and we failed to convince him, the group said, we have no more other choice. You pinpointed to me. So reluctantly, that was how I joined politics. Actually, December of 1987. The election was February 3 of 1988. Fortunately, I was one of the 12 councillors that came out, the group. So, start of my political life. You know, the problem in politics, the moment you entered, it's so difficult to extricate yourself already and get out. Because the term of councillor at the time was 4 years. After serving for 4 years, I told myself, it's difficult to be in politics. So, I want to move out and go back to my private law practice. But I do not know why the leaders then, political parties in Baguio, keep on coming to our house, convincing me to run as vice mayor. I said, no, I will not. I can be one of your campaign managers, but no more a candidate. But they keep on coming back. Si Tony Boy, ikaw ang vice mayor. So, I cannot anymore extricate myself. I won. Majority of our councillors line up won. We took our oath, elected and re-elected officials, June 30 of 1992, because at noon of the same day, you will now start performing your functions as the elected officials of Baguio. I took my oath 9 o'clock in the morning as vice mayor. After 15 minutes, I was told to take my oath as mayor already, acting mayor. So as I said, I started functioning as mayor June 30 of 1992, anchored on the simple principle of honesty, humility, transparency, and accountability. Our Almighty Father as our continuing guide. We forged our partnership. That was the most difficult situation of the city of Baguio because we were then recovering from the ruins of the killer earthquake of July 16, 1990. It was so difficult, especially for me, city mayor at the time. Believe it or not, I had to work even up to 8:30. Plaza, despite the fact that we are on top of the hill, had been flooding at the time. In front of Maharlikad, the water will reach nearly my breast. Walking that area, even during that time of the night, there are a lot of problems encountered by the city. All that you hear, majority, people from outside and even inside the city, no more, Baguio cannot anymore stand from its, with the help of the Lord, in the partnership that we have done with Vergara. It likewise inspire and challenge. Fortunately, President Fidel B. Ramos was the president at that time to be our partner. He kept on using in other speaking engagement with local government units the example of teamwork in unity. We rehabilitated the Baguio Bawang to the tune of about, I think that was about 600 million. Baguio to La Trinidad. We worked even January 1, New Year's Day, with President Ramos, moving around, 1995, because again, I want to move out already after serving one term as mayor. I want to move out because Labo was able to fix his problematic citizenship at the time, and he was again going to run. What was my chance? Labo, it's not peso, but keeps on suing dollar as his money. It did not go that way. The different leaders again keep on coming that no one can defeat Labo except you. So I said, please do not flatter me. I know my limitation, capability. No. So, but when I had been analyzing why Labo had been winning, I accepted the challenge. I ran against Labo. And then, with God's help, I won 1995, my second term. Senator Plavir was elected for his first term as senator. So, he was added to President Ramos as our friend with the national government. When he had seen me, because I knew him, he released a lot also of his fundings, like the rehabilitation of the biggest drainage in the city of Baguio, from Athletic Ball to Rabbit Sing Hall, that solved the flooding in Plaza, how it was. The modernization of the Marcos Highway to the tune of it's more than 1 billion, 1.6 billion. Then the circumferential road of the city of Baguio. I always carried with me the preservation of our culture. When I came here in 1965, we were only few who were brave enough to wear their necktie on their waistline, not on their neck. I do not object that we teach our children dances of other tribes and even foreign dance. But what I am sad, we keep on teaching them the kolintang, the tinikling, but we do not teach them our own native dances. Let us start with our own dances. Teach our young children. Fortunately, it started during that time. Those who keep on seeing wala na, Baguio cannot stand up. The prices of real estate before the earthquake and after that one even went up. The cleaning of the rivers, the cleaning of our air that we breathe, and then garbage disposal system, and then the regreening our city, giving it as a priority program of the city government, with the goal of bringing the reputation of Baguio as a clean city.
Okay, so as much as I want to butt in or mag-follow up question kay Atty. Domogan, kompleto naman na yung sinasabi niya. Ang complete from nung naging mayor siya, paano nila binangon yung Baguio from the killer earthquake, then sa tourism, education, and whatnot. So, eto yung next question natin para kay Atty. Sa lahat ng ng experiences mo within your political career, ano yung alam mong situation na mako-consider mong worst?
The rehabilitation of Baguio. To do that, you have to inculcate discipline, cooperation among its people. It's not easy. It's not easy. There were always negative comments against you, but just do what is right that you think, even if unpopular. I always encourage participatory governance. I do not have the monopoly of knowledge, so I listen to everybody before I make the judgment.
In your private law practice, of course, we can say names, but ano yung mako-consider mong unforgettable situation na dumating na tinanggap mong case?
I have a lot of them. When I defended, happens to be from Bauco. She was accused of murder. Marciana Ayungan, from Banao. Unbelievable. I'm convinced that she was innocent, so I accepted despite the fact that there's no promise attorney's fee. She was acquitted.
In all means po, are you in favor of the Cordilleran autonomy?
I have always been an advocate. I do not claim to be number one advocate of Cordilleran
And why
autonomy.
is that?
Yes, because to me, this is the best way that we can improve the situation of the Cordilleras. The future of our region, future of our children and our children's children. That's why I had been so involved in crafting the bill for the autonomy of the Cordilleras. Because again, while I say I'm in favor of autonomy, the most important point is the provisions of the bill. If you will note, Republic Act 6766, the first autonomy law that had been passed was not ratified by the people of the Cordillera. There are certain provisions there which are problematic. That's why the oppositors against autonomy can easily come out with untrue stories of saying, all right, you vote for autonomy. Where do you get the income to pay the teachers, the police, and everything? You have to impose taxes to your chickens, to your pigs, to your carabaos to generate income to pay them. That's not true. We address all of those. If only we have the time, I can more or less substantially memorize. I do not know the recent bill that they had filed, but I think it's substantially the same with. It has only 18 to 19 articles. I can go article by article if you want to. That will show to you that it will be an improvement of our present situation. If those will be followed, I came out with the basic 5 principles that must be, or elements that must be complied to achieve autonomy, which will ensure an improvement of our present situation. This is number 1, have our legal identity. That will devolve to us powers right now being exercised by the national government to manage our own natural resources, our own affairs in the region, preserving our culture and tradition, worth preserving, protecting our ancestral land, and increasing the share that we get from the national government. That's number 1. Number 2, even if we will become autonomous, there will be no diminution of our existing benefits that right now we are getting. Existing powers and benefits that right now we are exercising. Example, internal revenue allotment, which simply says that even if we will become autonomous, we'll continue to receive that. And over and above the internal revenue allotment, there will be share income of the national government from the collections of the different agencies like the NPI, land transportation, which is under our proposal, 80% of those collected in our region should remain to the region. Only 20% will be given to the national government. Right now, 100% is going to the national government. We have to somewhat amend the corporation code in order that we correct the injustice that long time we have been suffering. Benguet as an example. Benguet was the host of the biggest copper and gold mining industries entire the Far East. But what is Benguet? It's not a first-class province because they get the gold and minerals of Benguet. They do not pay taxes in Benguet. They pay it in their central offices in Makati.
Makati, yes.
So, persons, juridical or natural, doing business in the region shall pay their taxes for the income they realize in the operation of their business here in the region, to likewise benefit the sources of their income. Third, we do not abolish the regional line agencies, but they will be substantially devolved to the autonomous government. We do not remove their budgets. You know what? Big help. 2017, when I was the regional chairman of the Regional Development Council, you know how much the budget of the line agencies in our region, despite the fact that's the lowest among all the regions' budget inside the country, but it's more or less, it's 29 billion to be spent only in car. So even if we will become autonomous, that should not stop. We maintain the regional line agencies. They have their own budget aside from the budget of the autonomous region. No, of course, dismissal of employees except for just cause and after due process. That's the number 3. Number 4, to ask the national government to give us the subsidy. Justification. If you study the reason why placed in Section 15, Article 10 of the 1987 Constitution, the provision that gives us to become autonomous in status, it is because principally of our culture and tradition, and the national government admits that the development of the Cordilleras and Muslim Mindanao had been neglected for a long period of time. On that basis, we ask the national government give the region subsidy, which under our proposal, 10 billion per year for the first 5 years, and then 5 billion per year for the next 5 years. Or in short, in 10 years, 75 billion pesos that be utilized for the infrastructure and economic development of the region. Kung hindi natin kukurapin yan, malas lang kung hindi mag-improve ng ating region. Over and above that, we place a provision of how the 10 billion will be distributed. 20% will go to the autonomous government. 6% will be a reserve. What is this reserve fund for? So that when some of our provincial municipality capitals will become cities, we have source of funding to give it to them. And then 23% of the remaining 74% will be divided equally by the highly urbanized city in the 6 provinces, hating kapatid. In short, divided by 7. The 2% will go to the component city of Tabo, right? Yes. And then 35% of the 74% will be divided equally by the municipalities entire region. And the remaining 40%, complete the 100%, will be divided equally by all the barangays entire region. So as I said, huwag natin lulukuhin yan. Walang dahilan kung hindi tayo mag-i-improve. And then the last principle is to ensure the financial sustainability and capability of the region in an autonomous status.
Kung meron kang isang advice na maibibigay sa amin sa henerasyon naming lahat, ano po yun?
Well, again, based on been hearing from our old people to you, our young people, our children, this is what they say. The key to achieve success is, number 1, have faith and have faith with your Creator. He is the only one can prevent from our own evils and weaknesses, that no other destroys your happiness, your progress and future, if not them. Number 2, take care of your health so that you will not be sickly. Even how good your plan is, if you are sickly, is difficult, achieve it. Number 3, do not be lazy. Even how difficult life is, if you are not lazy, how poor you are, there are means that you can do to realize income to feed yourself. Number 4, wala kang masamang bisyo. Yun yung sumisira sa atin. So that's what my grandfather had been telling me. Even how little your income is, it will not go to vices. It will be utilized for your own need. I bet with you, as the years will pass, slowly you will be climbing the ladder of success. That's one thing. That's why in law practice, I've been telling my daughter, the young lawyer, this basic, culture-based message of our old parents. Plant. Take care of your plant, and then for sure you are going to harvest something. You are the lawyer who expect to harvest. You did not plant, then possibly you are a hold-upper. Well, what are you going to harvest if you did not? And then always do the best that you can do. Any job or responsibility that you are asked or given the opportunity to do. Those are the things na ano. Regardless of what others say, think that is what is right. Do it the best you can. That's what I have been telling my own children.
Thank you po.
Thank you also, anak, and to all of you who will view this interview. Well, we wish you all the best. Just a story of a simple man who came from the wilderness of the Cordilleras.
So, I grew up na sa lola at lolo ko lumaki na masaya kahit sardinas lang ang nila.
Yung apologies ko, and I hope naiintindihan mo yung kung gaano yung utak ko noon. But now, syempre, I'm considering you as my forever friend.